your host for Let's Talk Mental Health, a new podcast series where we, when I say we, meaning along with my special guest, we are trying to create a community of people supporting each other where we will be able to talk about our how we feel and about our feelings, our mental health, just as we talk about our physical health. So, without much ado, I'd love to welcome our special guest today, Anu Vittal, and she promotes happiness for humanity. She is a certified life coach and a lot more. Let me welcome Anu Vittal to, to our live
Hi,
show.
Trisha.
Hi, Anu. How are you?
I'm good. Always a pleasure to see you.
Same here, Anu. I just so look forward to these Thursdays these days that I can't tell you. So, Anu, this is our fourth episode, and our relationship seems to be the heart of all topics and the impact of health on our relationship. Could be any type of relationship that we discussed earlier. Especially today, we are going to talk about how we fall into certain type of addictions in our lives, certain bad habits we develop over period of time, and how as a I'm a caregiver to my children, and from my point of view, I also have children in the house, and I do see that the addiction, so as to speak, for the devices for my children, and I sometimes really feel that what's going on in their lives. Why are they, like, right from the morning when they wake up, why aren't they stretching like they used to do? Why aren't they praying like they used to do? Why is it that the moment they open their eyes and here their devices are? And well, I also do that. I'll not lie. I'll also do that sometimes. But the this habit, I would say, is slowly turning into a kind of addiction where it is definitely affecting the regular day of their lives. So, do we call that addiction? Is that an addiction when it
Yes.
affects? Okay. So that's
Well, it's a habit, it's an addiction. Unfortunately, social media has become such a integral part of our daily life. It's impossible to live without the devices. And in so many ways, we have to be grateful for the devices because during the time of the pandemic, they were our lifelines. However, allowing your body to rest mentally, physically, emotionally is so necessary to heal, and just like they would upgrade their versions of their latest phones and devices, they also need to stop and take some time to plug into what we call a universal source and just remain in a state of being peaceful, or like you said, praying or meditating or yoga, which you teach so well, or just doing nothing. The art of just doing nothing and being is so necessary to be able to become that next version, to get that upgrade to version 3.2.1 of who you are. Even when you put your phone into the plug, it specifically says you need to plug in and charge overnight. And then the next day in the morning, when you wake up, you see, oh, the upgrade is completed. It's not happening while you're on the device, it never does. Similarly, you can't do that when you're constantly doing multiple things. So there are several addictions. There are addictions to shopping, because that's great therapy for anyone who might be suffering from mental illness. There is addictions to alcohol and drugs and substance abuse. There's addiction to sex. And so all of these are just ways and means for you to escape for a little while, because they do make you feel good when you're indulging in them, or they help you to um, not feel at all or numb the pain. But however, it is important to build the mental strength to know that those are not the only things important in your life, or those are not the things that are going to heal you. Actually, facing your pain and allowing that pain to run its course, and then using other things to bring about joy or pleasure in your life is perfectly fine. but not letting that thing be the control. So I think you should get a daily dose. And when I say dose, is DOSC. It's an acronym for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And these come about by doing a multitude of activities. And these are your essential vitamins to happiness and feeling good. So the more you get a dose, and in the part of this dose is some of the things we talked about just a couple of minutes ago, which is meditation, relaxation. So those really help you. Being out in nature, for example, going and giving someone a hug, doing something for someone else, which doesn't necessarily directly provide you instant gratification, but in the long run, it evolves into a better relationship for you and for them. And these are some exercise so important, so critical. Like, I know growing up in a traditional Indian family, I would watch my grandfather doing yoga and pranayam, and it always fascinated me. And then there would be times when you start to imitate them because it's fun in the beginning, and then you start to realize the benefits. And over the years, somewhere, somehow, we may have changed those, and could be because of lifestyle, work pressure, and all of those different things that happen. But bringing cognizance back to those little actions that add value is so important as part of your neurobics journey to being a better version of yourself.
Wow. Dose, you said, is a dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and E stands for
Endorphins.
endorphins.
Yes.
Endorphins. So
They
basically,
almost feel like love. When you go to the gym
mm-hmm,
and you stop going for a couple of days, you
yes,
actually feel that you
yes,
want to go to the gym because it makes you feel good.
it does. It does. Definitely. Wow. That's a new way of learning the daily dose, dose, DOSE. Um, Anu, you just said that. You saw your grandparents doing yoga, meditation, pranayam, and you were very fascinated. And you said that in the beginning, it's so much fun. You would want to do it. You did, perhaps, and then you start realizing the benefits of it, and then slowly it just gets into your system. You just feel it is one of the doses that you're receiving on a regular basis, that you want to stick to it. So isn't addiction also is somewhat similar, except for when you are saying that, fun in the beginning and then benefits you realize, and then it gets into your system and you continue to do that because it's good, not just for you, for your surrounding also. Whereas I see that when we develop addiction for something, of course it's fun in the beginning, and then you realize the benefit, what you think of it as, are actually not benefits, because it's maybe for that moment it is doing good to you, but it's not in reality doing any good. Rather, it's doing harm. It's bringing in harmful effects on your body, your life, the way you think, and also in your surroundings. So that, what happens when we um, continue doing that, and thereafter it's not just me, if I'm the one who's doing it, it's affecting me, but largely our whole family, our whole society is in a way getting affected. To that point, I have a question for you. I've received from one of our listener and viewer, I would say. So viewer, and the question that we have received, it's not a very uncommon question, but definitely something that I'm expecting to find a holistic approach to how to go about this, and the concerns of parents, that their child, they found out that their child is um, addicted to substance abuse. So, and the parents would do whatever within their capacity to get their child out of that situation. Because as a parent, as a caregiver, you want, end of the day, you want them to be happy, you want them to be safe and healthy. So the parent, one of the method that they thought would work great, or wonder, would be to send them for rehab, and everything was working great. And the person came out of it, but unfortunately didn't work. So the concern from the parents here is that, where did we go wrong? We did everything that was within our capacity, and not just us, the healthcare system. We utilized a team of supporters. Um, where did we go wrong, or where did the system go wrong? So, what is actually the problem? Why is it that after so much of um, attempts, efforts, why is this still happening? So is there a way, a holistic way to look at this and approach it?
So, one question, is he still in using substances, or is he
Yes,
normalized? He is.
he is.
Yes. So it's like taking your car to the service station when you have a problem
Mm-hmm,
and you get it rehauled, whatever, oiled and repaired.
mm-hmm,
You bring it back, but you still have to continue to work on that car and you still have to maintain it. You still have to fill gas and whatever else you need to do to tire pressure, and you can't just stop. So the thing is, I don't know how old this person is and is he living with his parents. So there's a few questions I would ask in this situation that would really help me determine the best solution. But generally speaking, if he is living with his parents, then it is also the vibrations surrounding the family home. And of course, I can hear a vibration of worry because that
mm-hmm,
is quite natural. At the same time, the opportunity here for them to bond as a family and to be able to rise above the challenge is very great. So, some simple things they can do is ask for him to maintain a diary, and also they all maintain a diary which is non judgmental and not asking or pointing fingers when they make statements, but more talking about their feelings specific to themselves to be able to share and together come up with some kind of a solution that works for them. The other thing is to change the vibration in the house because let's face it, everything is a vibration around us that seems to affect us. And literally, it's electromagnetic waves, emotion, right? Energy in motion is salt water. So negative, positive ions exist all around us, within us. And so when we put salt water in a bowl and leave it in the center of the house, especially in an area where lots of sunlight comes in, a lot of this energy gets trapped in there during the times when we're not active around the home, especially nighttime. And then you throw it out in the morning into the sink, specifically by using the words disintegrate, 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 all that does not serve me. So you're actually taking away a lot of that negative. It's absolutely the same as going to the ocean and feeling so good when you come out of the water because you've been ionized from negative, the aura, into positive ions. So that's a definite plus point. The other thing is not being helicopter parents, which I think are some of the times when the child has been wounded or gone through a difficult phase, in this case, substance use and out of rehab, the tendency is to be a helicopter parent and to constantly monitor and check and not trust and, go into their rooms and see if they're doing something. That really doesn't bring um, a sense of calm to the person going through it.
mm-hmm,
So, in fact, I would encourage the other those opportunities wherein they work in getting to do things together, either the mother or the father or the sister or the brother, whoever, in
mm-hmm,
taking this person out to the park for a walk and just being, or, getting them a pet and making them responsible for it, because that also is a big responsibility. But the pet gives you so much unconditional love that they feel good enough. Most of the problems come from the fact that we don't feel good enough, and having those affirmations and little notes all around the house. There are people who actually write it on their bathroom mirror or have it as their screensaver on their laptop. I am good enough. I am, strong. I am resilient, and those kind of things really help. And some of the things I would recommend.
So I noted down few points, and if our viewer is still watching, however, I'm going to get back to them with some of the notes that I've taken. That it is very important to monitor how what we are doing and how we are doing, right? So keeping a diary or a journal is very it works.
Because
And
there's a maintenance phase. Everything
me,
is a maintenance phase. You can lose weight, and then you can't go back to eating tons of food and junk food. You have to maintain it.
right.
So it takes time. It might be slow. So I don't think anything has gone wrong. I just think it's phases of change.
That's a very positive way of looking at it. And you are right. When something happens in the family with the loved one, um, it we have a tendency to not trust, sort of. Um, I don't know if that's the right word, but yes, helicopter parent is definitely the right words in this situation. And why not give this a try? Because the person who maybe came out of the rehab maybe want to really get out of it. So giving them a chance to do things on their own by following the methods, some of the methods that you mentioned, which are, I've heard before that these especially journaling and writing down and observing, monitoring self does help. And positive, the affirmations that you said, it does boosts like anything. So that has definitely has a very positive effect. um, Great, that is very good. Now you also said that self-worth anyways come into the picture because we mm, many of us do not feel that we are good enough for whatever we are. The whole point is that we are not good enough. And I'd just like to point one of my friends concern, Anu, if we have time, just a little bit about self-worth. That um, women, of course, as a woman myself, have a lot of other issues, menopause and tons of other things to take care. um, but this is the age range which is like 40s and above, or maybe 35 and above. So and it could be different for different people. But what is happening, a concern was raised by my friends group, one of the, particularly by one friend, that she doesn't feel, she feels sad that the phase that she is in right now, that she's confused as to what's happening to her body, and she is no longer attractive to the outside world, to her friends, or when people look at her. So when I was like, it started with a casual talk, but that actually was very sad to hear, painful to hear, because it's coming from a friend, and you would want to help your friend. You That's what friends are for. So I thought, I know I would just ask you this, how, and this feeling that I'm not worth it, oh, everything is ending because I'm no longer attractive, I don't look good, nobody calls me beautiful, gorgeous, or anything of that sort. So what's the point? So more sadder days, um, perhaps she is turning into, and I do not like that, want to help her. So is there something that you have, a way to look at things, so we can suggest?
Yeah, well, everything does end. Everything is not forever. That's a fact. So also is beauty and age, and it's just this body that's the outer shell that is changing, and it's changing right now. Cells are dying on your skin, on your hair, and inside things are metabolizing. Some things you don't need are going away, some new things are coming in. And we know that for a fact that life is not permanent for us in this particular body. We'll get a new body another time. It's like getting a new phone cover. So, fact is, when you have this one body right now, which is a phenomenal miracle of science and engineering, and I cannot even tell you how fantastic it is, you suddenly realize that so much of focus on the outer skin is not necessary as much as it is for your internal um, skin to feel better, right? Because everything that happens on the outside happens on the inside.
Hmm.
And people are so busy doing makeup for their face and doing their hair and that's nails, and that's beautiful, and you should. And what about doing the work on the inside that makes you feel good? So part of that journey is to allow for those wrinkles to come through and age gracefully. Yes, it's hard when it's happening, and nobody wants dark circles, and we think that everybody else is perfect, but they're not, especially if you look at the movie stars without makeup. I was watching Jennifer Lopez's, I think it was Halftime on Netflix, and there were times when she had no makeup and there were dark circles, and she had her hair up in a ponytail, and she wasn't perfect, but she owned it. She accepted every single part of her just the way she was. And she said it didn't happen easily. It took her to get to 50 years and not be bought and sold by the opinions of others. And it doesn't matter what other people think, how you talk to yourself. Are you your own best friend? Do you kiss yourself? Do you love yourself? If that you do every day in your being alone time or in your space of just relaxing and doing nothing, you will see that this neurobics, this time, this affirmation, this celebration of just who you are, just the way you are. Because there's only one Trisha, there's only one Anu, and that is something unique, and that is a gift. And you're here to do so much more for humanity. There's so many needs around the world than the beauty on your outer skin. And you should maintain because it makes you feel good. As a woman, I think it's necessary to do things. And obviously, if you get a little zit or, you know, your cheeks get a little chubby like mine did. And I was like in the beginning so upset. And then my nutritionist said, it doesn't matter. Are you eating good nutrition? Are you feeling good? Do you sleep well? So those are the things I should be changing. When I started changing those things, I started changing on the outside automatically. So really, face is the mirror of mind, and the more you can change and upgrade your mind and exercise it regularly and feed it good things and give it an emotional diet full of love and compassion and hugs. And it's okay to feel pain. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to get angry. Everything is fine. It's ultimately how you talk to yourself and say, today I'm just having a bad day. Today I have one little wrinkle, which is fine, that just talks about all the tears and all the smiles that I have celebrated through life that made me who I am. So,
Anu, you made such an important and a very beautiful point by saying that wherever you are, um, you own it. You learn to own it. And how you do it, check how you are talking to yourself. So, working outside on your body, skin, everything else is great. But if we are able to work on our inside, maybe there is a higher chance that automatically the outside feelings would just fall into the right place. So,
absolutely.
yeah,
Because people don't love you or love you less because of the extra wrinkle. They love you more because of who you are and how you have become a happier person. That's what attracts people, right?
very true, very true. Wonderful. So, how you mentioned in my first question to you from the parents that the salt
The
water.
saltwater cleansing. It's
The,
typically rock salt
is it,
that's
yeah,
poured into a bowl, and then you pour water into it. And then you can say a little prayer or a blessing or a wish or an affirmation something in the present tense that says, I feel strong, my home is beautiful, my children are so happy, I feel so connected to my family, I'm loving my home and my family, I'm loving the fact that my son is home. Whatever it might be that makes you feel good, and that affirmation stays and it expands.
Affirmation stays and it expands, and
Mhm.
the next day you can throw it away,
Yes,
saying
so you put the
disintegrate.
water into either the toilet or the
Think,
sink,
okay,
and then you say disintegrate 3 times. All that does not serve me. Because there's nothing wrong with negative, positive. You need both. There's nothing wrong with pain and pleasure. You need both. Young and old, sun and moon, rain and sunshine, everything is dual. So you cannot live without the two.
you cannot live without it too. That's
Yes.
true. Amazing. I just hope that our viewers are able to get some, I mean, these issues, these other two, today we discussed two concerns, but these are not very common, uncommon issues. We all go through it at some point of our life or the other, and like, I can very well relate to it. I can very well relate to it, especially the first concern that I have my children, and I'm so afraid that this will turn into a very bad addiction. And even the second one, I keep talking to my children, saying that love yourself. And the basis of my, even my yoga teachings and my sessions, the focus of my yoga classes or is about understanding how to love yourself, how to talk to yourself, how to, yes, go ahead, kiss yourself, show some love to your own self first. So I can very well relate to this. I would once again just let our viewers know that we would love to hear from you. And also, of course, we are very thankful to you for sending us your questions. Anu, I have received many, many questions which we will be discussing, and it is about relationship, how their mental health is affecting relationship. Although we will keep them anonymous as they have wanted, and but there are too many other kind of addiction concerns also we have received. So we would be discussing in our future episodes. For now, Anu, tell me something. I want to know that you said how you talk to yourself is very important. So how do, is there a technique do you use to see if I'm doing the things right to myself? Is there something that I can do on a daily basis to check that, you know what, yes, I'm showing love to myself, I'm showing I'm taking care of myself? Are there any checklist to, or if there's any way that I know that I'm doing the right thing to myself? So, is there something that you can suggest?
Sure. So we talked a lot about pain, and one of the things I want to talk about is that because of pain, we get affected in different ways, whether it's anxiety, depression, moments of sadness, tears, all of which is fairly normal. I don't think anyone should look at it differently. It's like you say always, if you hurt your hand, you hurt your hand, but it's not the localized pain alone. It
Hmm.
does affect the entire body. So similarly, things that happen to you psychologically happen to you physiologically. Things that happen to you physiologically also affect you psychologically. So pain is one of those essential things that I really want to talk about, is the trauma that we carry from childhood, pain points, pain emotions, and those experiences that seem to come up during the day. There's a simple technique that you can use. It's an NLP technique taught to me by another mentor. And what it is instead of pushing it under the carpet and ignoring or avoiding it, which is what we talked about, substance abuse, or people who go play a game, or golfing, for example, or long periods where you can escape from that situation, but the situation doesn't escape you. Shopping or doing things that are pleasurable, which is fine, but not getting addicted to them to the point where you are not able to actually process the pain. So allowing for your moments in the being state, just being state, or when you're going for a walk or whatever it is that is comfortable for you, is to sit somewhere where it's peaceful. This is only, it takes a few minutes. And so what you do is you pretend when you close your eyes that this is the screen of your movie of life, or you can imagine it as the screen of your phone. And what you want to do is you want to bring that pain, problem, issue up here for that few minutes. And in the beginning, you give yourself permission to hold that thought or that movie scene for maybe a minute. And then what you do is, as you see the movie, you start to distinguish yourself as the person who's seeing the movie. And the person experiencing the movie is the actors in the movie, which could be you and somebody else. And then once you finish the movie, you then use your ring finger to slide the screen off, or to do this 3 times. And by doing that, what you're actually doing is allowing that scene to disappear. And then what you'll notice is when you've started at, say, the 1 minute point, you can come to as low as 5 seconds. And then this happens over a period of time. And eventually, whenever you bring that scene up, it no longer hurts you. You start to accept it as a part of your life. And then you just move forward because you are the director of your movie and you could also be the actor, but you can change the scene always. You had a bad scene, that's fine. What does the actor do? They do a retake and a retake, and the director does it till it's perfect. You can do the same thing. And you can actually do this also in places where you've gone with your husband on your anniversary, had a miserable fight, it wasn't a pleasant experience. You want to recreate it, and then you purposefully go back to the same restaurant, but this time very mindfully. You actually practice having the experience, which is beautiful, that overrides the negative. So the positive is always a million times more powerful than the negative. Always remember this, because we are all transmitters of electromagnetic waves. If imagine every time we said something, it came true, we would, half of us wouldn't be alive today, because I'll die for this, or I'll be dead, or it hurts, or I'm going to kill myself. We say all these things, but none of this actually translates into anything. Whereas a positive vibration can actually completely subdue the negative very quickly and bring about a positive element into your aura or your sphere. So that is something I definitely recommend. The other thing that I'm practicing and I find very useful when I feel anxious or tend to get a bout of depression is to really work on my vagus nerve. So, the vagus nerve is a nerve that basically connects your brain to your gut, and you can call it the highway of your roadmap in your body system, or you can actually call it the main electrical fuse box, because thoughts are the sparks that ignite that message or the electromagnetic wave that goes through that vagus nerve. So when you have a negative thought or angry thought or whatever it is, it does translate. And that's why sometimes you feel, I felt sick to my stomach, or I had, a gut feeling, and or it bothered me. I had butterflies in my stomach. You always feel it there. So the thinking brain is always between the head or the brain to the stomach. And here is where the thymus, so the thoracic cavity, is where we feel a lot of emotion, because as human beings, we learn to express them through voice. And the times when we don't express them, then they do go directly and sit in the pit of your stomach, which is your core. So strengthening that is very important. And you know this also through yoga. Breathing is one of the most critical things you can do to strengthen that vagus nerve, because whatever you're eating, whatever you're feeling is going directly there. So it's affecting so many visceral, life sustaining, involuntary actions in your body which you cannot control, right? You can move your hand left and right, you can move your eyes, but there are so many things that's going on inside of your body, whether it's your heart beating, your kidneys doing some work, your gut doing your digestion, your gut being the largest organ and the most powerful. If you don't strengthen this, then what happens is that you start to lose your mental strength, and then everything starts to fall down, your emotional strength and all of those. So there are different breathing exercises and other exercises that really, really help. And one of the most simple ones is you can sit in a chair, put your hand on your head, and slightly tilt your body to the right, and make sure that your left eye looks up at the left corner, and hold this for about 30 seconds at the minimum and longer if you wish. Just see how your body feels and breathe, and just observe. There are times you'll feel like you want to take a deep breath or sigh. There's a lot of trauma leaving your body. And then you repeat on the other side. Very simple, easy to do, doesn't even take more than 2 minutes, but it releases trauma right from the age 0 to wherever you are today. And I've been doing this pretty much every single day. There's a combination I do, which has been very helpful for me. So you're clearing up the highway so the traffic can flow good, the emotions don't get clogged, your digestion is great, your sleep improves, your skin improves, and overall anxiety starts to reduce because the trigger of the thought isn't continuously pushing stuff down that highway. The response gets more controlled, and the parasympathetic nervous system gets a lot more relaxed because it's not clogged with so much stuff. And you're allowing through breath to release a lot of the things you don't need.
Wow. In fact, you may not have noticed I was trying to do that. Even when we have our yogasan, which is the third step into Ashtang Yog, the third step. And we sort of prepare, when we prepare our body, and so that is sort of mm, a, a kriya we do just to, as you said, that unclogging the highway, clearing the highway, the vagus nerve and the gut, so the brain to the gut. So yes, we do that, and it does. While you were showing, I was actually doing it, and it does feel com- I would say completely different, because I do that in a different style. But yes, you could try, our viewers. You could try, and we have been receiving some comments also on our YouTube channel, which we are very, very thankful. Sanjay Thakur has written to us. Sundar Saundarya has written to us. And there is another person, Ravi, is writing. They are saying hello to us. So we want our viewers to engage with us, and let us know your concerns. Let us know your topics that you may want to hear, the the holistic approach that we have in mind for you. So in fact, I was talking to my daughter's friend, and in fact I spoke to my daughter also. I wanted to know what sort of topics they would like to hear, and they agree that it's not easy for someone to just come up and just throw us questions or topics, or it's a journey, it takes a while. But also at the same time, it does help when on the other, from looking from the other side, when I see that there is a community building going on, wherein I may feel that I'm not being judged when I'm talking about my feelings. Because, Anu, it is very important that we share, we talk about our feelings. Very, very important. But we have always been taught, I mean, at least that's how I've been raised, that, you know what, keep your feelings to yourself, and just be how everybody wants to see you. So it's like to fit in the box. But no, Let's Talk Mental Health is a platform where Anu and I, we are We are trying to build a community of people supporting each other, where we feel comfortable talking about our mental health and how it impacts our relationship. And we talk about mental health the same as we would talk about how we are doing with our physical health. Anu, before we end, your last few words on the topics that we discussed, addiction. You provided some really very effective solution. I have noted them down, and also about another friend of mine's concern about the self worth that she had been feeling low on. So, last few words that our friends feel motivated to work on the techniques and the tips that you have shared.
So I think one of the fun things that you can do as you want to increase your self worth, and this is for pretty much all of the people who had concerns today, would be to spend some time in front of the mirror and put on your most happiest smile and actually put your elbows, fold your elbows and put your hands on your waist and stand in the stance of Superman or Superwoman. So your feet are a little more than hip distance apart. And then what you want to do is look in the mirror and say, you are enough. You are a superwoman or a superman. And I love you. And you look great. And go out there and do what you have to do and ace that interview and get that new job, or just go out and pick up your kids from school, or cook that amazing dish that you've been wanting to try, or just do fun things. But standing in that stance itself, and if you try it, what it does, it just gives you a lot of energy. It improves your posture and it strengthens your core so that you really feel that vibration go all through your body. And you can try this for yourself. Don't believe me. Do it for about a week or so, and you will feel so good all the time. And I used to do this, and this is a secret, in the bathroom of my workplace, because I would have an important meeting and I wasn't always good at public speaking. So if I had to, address the meeting or, share my part of the project, I would be so nervous, and I would be like, am I going to do this right? Or am I good enough? And then I would go and do this in the bathroom, and I'd be like speaking to myself, and people in the stall next to me would be like, she's the crazy one. I don't care. But it worked every single time. So I think the Superman stance, just stand with your arms like that, akimbo, and just feel like, yes, I am the Superwoman or the Superman, ready to conquer the best part of my life in the journey ahead.
Wow, Anu, thank you so much. Amazing. The word itself, the stance itself. I can imagine. I can visualize myself doing that, and it helped in the past. It helps me. I do the same, and it does work. It has worked many times. So that was amazing. And Anu, it is always more than pleasure to have you come in and share the techniques. Not just you are, it's not just that you're sharing, you have tried it on yourself as well. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time. And one last thing that I would say, that yes, if you feel motivated, motivation is something that can get you started, but make it a habit, because habit will keep you going. So you might as well develop doing all the techniques and the tips that Anu shared. Make it a habit of your own to get going. With that, we end our episode 4, impact of mental health on relationship. We will come back with new topics next Thursday at 3:30 p.m. USA Canada Eastern Time. And here, Trisha Mukhopadhyay, thanking you all for watching and listening to us. And Anu, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.